Hey traders, what's going on? Jamie Setley here. It is Jan 17, 2019, and this is the Midweek Strategy webinar with SB Trade Desk. Probably going to be a fairly or shorter than usual one today. I actually have the flu, and I just couldn't in my right mind cancel the webinar because, well, I can't get you sick through the microphone, and I love you all, so wanted to do the webinar anyway. But yeah, not feeling too great over here. All right, so the drift rally in equities, I want to start there. Just a couple of longer term charts. So this is the weekly chart of the Dow that goes, you're familiar with this. This goes way back to the 1930s low. So here's the weekly, right? You can see you've seen this many times, right? Unless you're brand new, you've seen it. And here's the daily chart. The underside of this magenta parallel is going to be a little higher. It's like 24,500. That would be in 300 points in the Dow. I don't know if we get there or not. If we did, I'd expect it to turn down. Like this is back in 2007, 2008, right? We broke it. It was support. Then we broke it. Then we came back and we failed just shy of it, but we'd also overshot a little bit. So you kind of had, a different parallel there anyway. So yeah. And, this time around, the parallel itself was actually pretty precise as support, right? So we'll see. We're awfully close. All right. So there's that chart. That's the Dow. And then, of course, the one from that you saw yesterday. This is the Qs, right? And this goes back to, I apologize in advance, the sniffling, all that stuff. I'm sick as a dog over here. So, but here's the Qs, and this is the 2008 trend line, right? I actually have 9. It actually should be 8. There you go. All right. So there we go. Now you've got this trend line from the highs, which is a hair higher, just a little bit higher, like 164. But we've had a big run. So when I bring in the short-term chart, we can look at a futures chart now, okay? And right now, actually, is kind of interesting. Like I'm talking like the last, 2 hours, because so what we have here, this is called a shift fork, right, off of this low. Remember, a regular just channel fork, modified shift fork, that just draws a trend line like this, right? It's usually too steep when you have an initial rally off of a low like this, that that's the word I'm looking for. It has a really steep, very strong advance off of a low, right? Because in fact, the same thing, but on a much bigger scale, we're looking at the same thing back in 2000 from the 2009 low in the S&P and the Dow low for that matter. We're looking at shift forks, so it flattens it out a little bit. So anyway, if we pull this chart, look at this a little more detail. This is a 60-minute chart. Okay, this is NASDAQ futures. And okay, we've got the upper parallel. Okay, fine. The median line's been really interesting in the sense that you can see it was resistance, then it was really good support. That was on the 15th, so that was 2 days ago. We cracked below it here in the overnight session, had a nice sell-off, bottomed in the European Open, as markets do tend to do that. And we've rallied back into the median line again. And that is little over 618 of the drop from yesterday's high, but I'm interested to see if we actually turn back down here, and then eventually get down to this lower parallel, maybe try to test over here, right? Just the horizontal level. So I guess until you break out of this rising shift fork, the behavior is kind of this melting higher, levitating higher, um, equity market. So you need to break out of this before you can have a real behavior change. A minor behavior change would be if we were to turn down right here, because at least at that point we would have former, resistance, turn support, acting as resistance again. Okay, that's something we would want to see. All right, won't hold my breath, obviously. New year, new market behavior, certainly. So, all right. Let's move on to currencies. And I did want to take a look at like gold, stuff like that too, which is in a very tight coil. DXY. All right. So this is a chart from several days ago. Euro really not doing a whole lot here over the last couple of days, but this is the 4-hour chart on DXY. We get the break, and then the break stops. We were looking for resistance here. I was at least about 95.80s. Didn't happen, and now we'd be thinking 96.60s. So, just kind of laying in the weeds here. Ty's got a question. He says, when you have a reversal bar on a daily, do you use fib retracements to time the entry on the next bar? So I think I know what you're talking about. And you know what, Ty, I'm not going to answer that this second. I'm going to keep that in my mind as I go through some of these charts, and I'll try to think of examples that, would, with what you're talking about, okay? Because I think I know what you're talking about, but all right. So here we have DXY, okay. Frankly, 96.60s is a level I also thought that if we were going to get there, we'd be there by now, but kind of in stationary mode in Euro at this point. But yeah, I mean, the median line itself, okay, whether it's a little higher, whether it's 96.70 or whatever in the coming days, that would be the area I'd be looking for in DXY. Okay, so that's bottom line there. Now, what's that mean for something like Euro? So for something like Euro, that probably means we'd be looking at the trend line off of the lows over here. Okay, and that's going to be down near the 1325, 1330 region over the next couple of days. Okay. What would make me want to operate from the long side again on Euro? So we had a real nice Euro long about a week ago off of here, right? A little higher. We actually were in at 1440, took off 1550, thank goodness, half, and then stopped out the rest because, as we know, I'm being facetious here, but trends are not allowed in currency markets these days. So basically, if we were to come down here to 1325, 1330 and put in a nice reversal bar or something, and we hit that DXY level and it all looks really, just textbook, and we had some sentiment stuff going on, like some articles saying the dollar's about to go ripping higher again, blah, blah, blah. And the people I talk to sometimes that have been really good at being wrong or getting bearish the dollar, then I would say, all right, let's go, we're just going to go long Euro, stop under here, whatever, let's give it a whirl. But, from a chart standpoint, I'd want to see us, frankly, back above just this median line. I mean, sometimes simple is just so good, right? It just works so well. Like, bullish above here, right? Bullish above the median line, okay? And then look to buy on it, right? We've actually done it a couple times. We actually bought this one here. We had that was a beautiful quick trade, right? That was in December too. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at from a chart perspective. I guess the alternative is that this thing completely breaks down. I just don't see it. I mean, I, how many times have we go over this and talk about the divergence with euro and DXY and dollar Swedish krona and the levels, and it's never ending. So, that's where my head's at right now on euro. Okay, British pound, Brexit or not Brexit? That is the question. So Ty is saying, did I get the volatility chart of euro? I don't have a volatility chart of euro right here, right now. Are you referring to a different? Oh, I sent you one. Oh, I have not seen it. I've literally been in bed for like 3 days with the flu. Um, and I went to my son's school yesterday, which is probably pretty dumb, but I get up to drink chicken broth and take NyQuil and look at the charts. But yeah, so I'll see about that, Ty. I'll check it out. But thank you for sending me something. All right, so here is British pound. Okay, we're going to focus in on just simply price action from the September high. It's a channel, right? We all know that. It's a beauty. We've been talking about it. This was a couple days ago during the, I don't even really know what they're voting for anymore, frankly, but I'm kidding. I'm just being a jokester. But no, this was, they were voting on May's proposal, leaving with the deal, whatever, okay, got it. Like, everyone knew it was going to be shut down. It was, everyone said that if it was shut down by more than 200 votes, the pound was going to go to 125. It did the opposite, and it went to 129. And at this point, it just looks to me like cable wants to go to like 131. I mean, you have the 200-day average up here. You have this high from 1114, and you have the trend line, the channel, right? We have been kind of stalled on a pretty good level lately. So this right here is going to be your 10.3 level. This right here is going to be your 1122 high. And then you have, of course, the 25 line right here. So this, when I think about levels to enter, if I think we're going to 131, that would mean that, want to be long, right? Because you got 200 pips till then. So let's go to an hourly chart. And this actually, Ty, this is a good example of something you were talking about that you asked a question on earlier. So you said when you have a reversal bar, do you look for, fib retracements? So like, for example, this is a big reversal bar over here. Now, granted, that was a flash crash type of day. That was the 1-3 flash crash day. So maybe a little different, but that would be something that would make sense in terms of looking for a fib reversal. So if you look for a fib reversal of that day, right, this would be your day right here. And a lot of times, yes, you can get like a 38.2 or maybe even a 618. The risk of this is that a lot of times the best trades don't let you in, so you won't get a pullback, okay? And then the market will just take off without you. All right, so that is, yeah, that's the risk of that. Now let's look at this pound hourly chart, okay? All right, pound hourly chart. We're looking at an hourly candle chart here. High over here is 28.15. All right. You've got a series of highs at 27.80 as well. This zone to me is your zone to buy British pounds. Okay, that's where I'd be looking for. Ty says I didn't mean to crash it. Yeah, I know, but I know what you're talking about. And a lot of times, the comments hold true in that it's an interesting proposition, and by all means, you should try to use it. My only thing is that was a daily bar. The only thing is that a lot of times, if you get a big reversal, sometimes the market won't actually pull back and let you in. It just goes, right? But I do like where your head's at, and I think it makes sense. It's something that I've tried in the past as I've gotten older and wiser in my trading. I just literally pay attention to levels more and more. But so if British pound, if we do get a pullback here, the 27.80, 28.15, then to me that's a buy. Stop's going to be a little tough because you're working with some pretty wide ranges here. But maybe see if you can get a test of this 200-hour average or something and go from there. But that's the levels that are laid out for me for trading British pound. Okay, basically looking at this range here, and then if we get it, we'd want to be taking it up towards 131. Might not get it though. In fact, that's a high volume day right there. So let's go back to this. You see that high volume day or hour? So now you're holding above it. You could look to be long basically against 28.30, currently 100 pips above that. So let's see how the day finishes out here, but that might be something to consider. Ty says, where's the volume study? So I have a volume workspace over here, okay? And you can see like it'll show me like the highest volume, hours, things like that. S&P is actually testing the highest volume week. That's from 2918. That's very interesting. That's good to know. 261.50. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. It's the exact same thing that happened over here. All right. All right, back to our charts. Dollar yen. This is a 4-hour chart. You can see that you've got like 109.50s to 109.70s. See this trend line here? Cuts through a lot of pivots. So if you're going to get a peak of some sort, this would seem like a pretty good place to do it, I would say, up around 109.70 or so. 109.71 is the year open, right? So month open too, of course. But that's where I'm thinking that we head to and then roll over. And maybe you need that before you can get equity markets to actually stop going up, right? Or change the behavior a little bit. Now, I will say, going just real quick back to the equity markets thing here, like I think that we actually drop at some point and people, I don't think we retest the lows really. I think we get a partial retracement and then I think you go higher probably for the next couple of months, right? That's just my opinion. I have various reasons for it, but that's my opinion. One's based on the Chinese equity markets, which to me exhibit a important 5 down from last year, Here, Ty, here's the Japanese yen. If you want to get a picture of dollar yen, here you go, man. Let me know when you got it. Got it? Okay, great. Okay, so there's that dollar yen. But going back to what I was saying real quick on the equity market. So yeah, I think that we pull back and then find high and then find a low and then go higher. And one reason for that, as I just said, was the Chinese equity market. So here is the Shanghai Composite. This is FXI. This is the Shanghai Composite. Okay, look where we're going to break out of this at some point. Okay, this to me is like a 5 down. Okay, and you're going to break out of this, and you're going to go back, and you're going to go test this trend line that goes back to 1995. To me, that's where it's just kind of where my head's at. And you get up here, and this is May, and then you sell in May and go away, right? Tell myself a nice little story. But we're very close to triggering something of a breakout. Now, maybe this test of resistance last night gets us a pullback, and you get a higher low in China, right, in the Shanghai Composite, along with the U.S., right, and then you can try to position on the long side. So up here, when it's with U.S. indices, I'd be looking at shorts up here, but then on the pullback, assuming it happens, which obviously we don't know it will, but we have gone straight up for quite some time, then I would be looking for us to find a higher low, probably between 24.95 and 25.15 in the Shanghai Composite. Okay. All right. Let's go back to some currency stuff here. All right. So okay. Same type of theme with the Australian dollar, right? Hit really good resistance, center line resistance, and working off short-term type of overbought things. Aussie's been pretty firm all day in the sense that, Kiwi had a nice drop, even CAD, which we were at long dollar CAD, which might not make it to the target, might get stopped out at break even. I was looking for at least 71.40. We didn't even get that. We got 71.46. Okay. Remains to be seen here. I like Aussie on the long side for a broader kind of trade, but there's no setup here for me so far. Need to see it consolidate a little bit more or get a deeper pullback, okay, before I would be willing to, put capital in harm's way and trade it on the long side. Kiwi hitting levels just perfectly, absolutely beautifully. Came down to this parallel here. I think you've got, looks like a 5 down here, in which case this is going to set up for a short again at some point, probably up near 68, which is where we were looking to short anyway last night. So you get that move up to 68, okay? You have a little A, little B, little C, maybe C is 66.90, maybe it's all the way at 66.46, okay? Either way, you've got two levels to really pay attention to for bigger supports in Kiwi and a good level to pay attention to in resistance, and those levels haven't changed from last night's post, okay? So 68 resistance, 66.90 support, maybe 66.46 support if you get a deeper drop, okay? And then, of course, the dollar CAD held the high volume level a couple times over the last few days. Got a nice run up to 33.20. This is the 4-hour chart. It's really quite clean, right? And I'm looking for resistance up near, from this point, it's going to be basically 134 and 134.50. Bottom line is right here. That's the 75 line. And the top level is the underside of the trend line that goes back to the October low, right? These levels are great. They haven't changed. You think about it. If I just get rid of everything on this chart except for hold on. So here we go. If we're looking at this chart, this is the trend. This is all the way back to the 2017 low. We're really just trading between these levels. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, look at the 25, the 75 line all the way, 25 line here. Okay, launch off the 75 line into the upper parallel, tank, median line to the tick. Can we get a rally back up to here to 34 and then get out of those longs and go short, take it back down here? I mean, sometimes you can just hit these things. It's like a symphony, right? Marco says he's puzzled with the stop loss at 33. That's supposed to be the target. No, the target is 33.80. So we're long dollar CAD at 32.65. Stop is 32.20, although I moved it to break even this morning. And then the target is 133.80. So wait, why are you puzzled with the target? Marco. Oh, well, he's saying 134. Well, it's there's two levels. One is this level here, which is about 133.95 at this point, and the other one's going to be about 34.45. So I just have the target 15, 20 pips below the chart level, which is kind of what I usually do anyway, because sometimes the market doesn't get there, and we call that being a dick for a tick. And then you're waiting for the market to get there to the perfect level. It doesn't get there, and then it turns around and you're left with nothing, right? So I'd rather take 120 pips than 140 or zero. That's all that is. All right. So, my friends, that is it for me. I know I'm going to end it early. Again, like I said, I have the flu. I feel terrible. My body is aching, and this is just brutal right now. So, I want to, yeah, but I wanted to get this webinar for you to go over these levels because you guys all deserve it, and you're wonderful, and thank you very much. So, yeah, that's it. We'll get hopefully, back on the longer webinars and questions and all that good stuff in the coming rest of the year. All right. I don't plan to be sick for 2019 and tend to get these things once a year. So whatever happens. All right. But thank you again very much, everybody, and have a great rest of your week, and stay healthy. All right. Bye.